Valley Center City Council meeting for May 16th, 2023 is now in session. Roll call.
Mayor Cicerillo.
Here.
Councilmember Stamm.
Here.
Councilmember Evans. Councilmember Bass. Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
We have a do not. So please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Valley Center City Council meeting for May 16th, 2023 is now in session. Roll call.
Mayor Cicerillo.
Here. Who's running the audio? Here.
Councilmember Evans. Councilmember Bass. Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Gregory. Here.
I pledge allegiance. Well, are we ready yet? Thank you. All right, council, item 5, approval of the agenda. Further discussion? Raise your hands. Motion carries. Item 6A, city council meeting minutes of May 2nd.
Motion to approve the minutes of the May 2nd, 2023 regular council meeting as presented.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion or any discussion?
I will not vote just because I wasn't here.
All right. All in favor, raise your hand. Carries. All right, moving on to presentations and proclamations. Is that in here? Yeah. I did not pull it out. It's usually right on top. You sure it's in here? Found it. All righty, we have a proclamation for National Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to the sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the citizens of Valley Center. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and of the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Valley Center to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the important public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2023 marks the 63rd annual National Public Works Week, the American Public Works Association, Canada and Canada Public Works Association, be it now resolved, I, Lou Cicerillo, Mayor, do hereby designate the week of May 17th to the 27th, 2023 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designated to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize financial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and quality of life. In witness whereof, I hereto set my hand and cause the seal of City of Valley Center to be affixed. Done at the City of Valley Center, Kansas, this May 16th, 2023. Personally, would like to tell you, you know how much we appreciate you and your staff, and both of you, because they did throw buildings in there, but so you count. But you guys do a great job. You've always deal with the the situations, especially the ones on the weekends late at night, and knock them out. So yes, you and your teams are very much appreciated. All right, moving on. We are now at the point of the meeting where we have the public forum. This is the point where anybody here in the audience who would like to speak to an item that's not on the agenda. Seeing none. We have no appointments, no old business, so we'll move along to new business. Item A, the 2022 financial audit.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Recently, we completed our fiscal year 22 audit, and we have Sean Gordon from Gordon CPA here to go over the findings and present the audit to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sean Gordon with Gordon CPA. I'll go through the 2022 audit report that you have in front of you, kind of section by section, explain what you're looking at. Feel free to stop me along the way if you have any questions. We'll start with pages 1 through 3. This is called the Independent Auditor's Report. Here we discuss the opinion that we issued to the city for its financial statements for 12/31/2022 year end. Then further on down here, we discuss management and the council's responsibilities for the city's financial statements, and then a few more of our responsibilities as auditors of the city's financial statements. The third paragraph down on page 1, you'll see a heading called Unmodified Opinion on Regulatory Basis of Accounting. That paragraph pretty much says that we issued the city the highest and cleanest opinion that we could give as auditors to the city for its financial statements. So that reflects very well on the financial and internal control management of the city during that time frame. Flipping forward to page 4, this is called the Summary Statement of Receipts, Expenditures, and Unencumbered Cash. Here you'll see in the left-hand column all of the different funds of the city, and then you'll see for each of those funds the beginning cash, receipts, expenditures, and then ending cash. Down at the bottom of that right-hand column, you'll see that the city reported about a little over $17.1 million on hand at 12/31/2022. The next section forward starts on page 5 and runs through page 11. These are called the notes to the. Quite a bit of information is discussed here, including policies. There's information on long-term debt, the Capers retirement program, budgeted transfers that were made, deposits and investments, so on and so forth. Like I said, there's quite a bit of information discussed here. And then the final section forward starts on page 12 and runs through page 40. Here you'll see just more detailed breakouts of those funds that were presented on page 4. Most of these pages have a comparison to the budget that was adopted for each of those funds for 2022. You'll also see a comparison for each fund, how it operated compared to the previous fiscal year, which was 12/31/2021. And then page 40, the very last page of that report shows the audited numbers for the library, the Valley Center Library, that we also audited as well as part of the city's audit. We did not have any auditors' recommendations to communicate to the mayor and the council this year, which again just shows that there was good internal controls in place by the city and its staff during that time frame. The last thing I wanted to communicate is that we had a very good audit this year. Barry and his team and everybody else involved in the audit did a very good job of getting us all of our requests and all of the information that we had needed to complete the audit. Any questions on the 2022 audit report?
Council? I don't see any. So thank you very much. I guess it's hard to question when you tell us we're doing a great job. So, and Barry, thank you and the whole staff to helping getting you get through this. So kudos.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council, we do need a motion to file.
Move to accept and file the audit report of the 2022 finances.
Second.
A motion is second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, item B, pool agreement with the Valley Center VCSC and VCRC. I'm not even gonna go there.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Blake and I are here to kind of kick around and discuss the swim team agreement with the Recreation Commission in the city. He and myself and with Brent's oversight have reviewed this contract with the swim club representatives, and we're here to present this to you tonight. Blake will probably talk about more of the finer points that are going to be discussed in it. So,
Yeah, just it's pretty similar to what we've had in the past. we did increase our rates a little bit just for our hourly. We based it on hourly usage of the pool, so we did increase their rates this year, and it's comparable with what the other pools are asking around us. So we worked with Neil and the swim team. We worked well together to come up with this agreement. So, yeah. Any questions?
I don't see any. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve agreement for the pool use between City of Valley Center Rec Commission, and Valley Center Swim Club, and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item C, approval of a supplemental agreement with PEC for Ford Street Waterline Project.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a little bit overdue because the project's been done for quite a while. But this is supplemental with PEC Field Services for inspection services on the waterline portion of Ford Street. That project went over on contract time by almost 3 months just due to some complications with testing. And so our inspectors, have an allotted amount of fee based on a timeline approved by you guys. And then that timeline was exceeded, and this was the additional cost that they had in the project. This amount will be withheld from payment from the contractor for exceeding their contract time. So paperwork thing.
Okay, I guess you answered Councilmember Stam's and my question with that last statement. Well, Councilmember Stam, look back up again.
I'm a little confused why we're paying them. Shouldn't that be you guys going after them? Because they went over liquidated damages.
So we're under contract with the city. The contractor's under contract with the city. So cities pays PEC Field Services. Contractors penalized for going over timeline with the city. So the city withholds it from there. So it's
How much was withheld from them?
this exact amount will be withheld from them, and then any additional that the city would like to pursue. The contract was $1,200 per calendar day, subject to liquidated damages. But there's some fine print of true added cost incurred by the additional time and so forth. So,
I see a week or two, but 3 months, that's quite a,
yeah, and it's a little misleading, 3 months, just because the work was done. They had some problems passing a test and kept going over and over and over. So they would be there for a few days. They'd be gone for a week. They'd come back. So
that's not the city's fault.
Yeah.
That's the contractor's.
So the city won't be penalized this amount because it's just transferring it from the contractor to the city back to PEC. I don't know if I'm doing it right.
Fantastic. And also too, do want to let, Mayor and Council know, during the process of trying to get the line to pass testing, the contractor did incur a large expense with pigging the line. A ton of chlorine was added to try to get it to pass. Were issues. Sometimes that does happen in water line projects. None of those expenses were passed on to the city. The contractor definitely did not make as much profit, if any, in this project. And so, of course, water line agreement is a little separate than the Ford Street overall, but we are making sure that we are adequately compensated and there's no additional costs for water loss and those things as well.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
So how much have we paid them anything yet? Have we paid this contractor anything yet?
Yeah, they're a sub to Wildcat on the overall Ford Street project. The water line portion was a milestone through the project. So we actually withhold it from Wildcat's pay, and then Wildcat works that out with them.
Okay.
Because they're a sub to Wildcat.
Okay. I think I understand what's going on.
Yeah, I get it. It's just, yeah, you start here and then you've got this person and that person and that person. And then this
Both
person's.
parties involved are contracted to the city.
Yep.
So it's.
And to, in the pay application, so we're showing a credit right now as we're drawing down the liquidated damages that we're charging Wildcat. So
And this is Ford Street. Which section of Ford Street is it?
Water line goes from and it's been done since November.
Yeah, I remember the issues.
From Seneca to Arbor Valley, which is
Okay.
the subdivision.
Okay.
Closer to the east end.
Again, we've got so many different going on that I'm keeping it straight.
What are we carrying currently?
On,
Okay.
they're the overall project, we won't know how many days they are. I mean, they could still hit their date for the street portion. That date's July or whatever it is now, so we won't know that yet. But there was a deadline outlined in intermediate deadline for the water line that they exceeded due to the testing.
And so, follow-up question, remind me on, so the overall project, is there a final payment that we pay them once the project is complete? They've received a certain amount as of right now.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what percentage.
Why I was looking at Mr. Clark.
Yep. And no problem. And so I wasn't planning on talking much. Since you invited me, Councilmember
Hey, you're welcome.
And so we process pay applications as they come in internally. Of course, the council approves the first contracted amount of the overall project. Any change orders do come before the council, but then we hold back and wait until the final payment to actually bring that back to council, show you kind of where everything ended up. If you would like to see more detailed pay applications, we can definitely bring those to you for longer length projects. But yeah, typically just like the Arbor Valley one coming up here on your next agenda item, we wait till final pay app and then kind of show you where everything came out in the end.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve supplemental agreement with PEC in the amount of $7,302.54 for additional inspection on the Ford Street water line project due to the contractor exceeding contract time.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, approval of final pay app for Arbor Valley Phase 1.
So like Brent just mentioned, we usually just bring the final pay app before council for approval. This is Arbor Valley, the subdivision closer to Broadway on Ford Street. The final pay or the final contract amount to finish out the contract was $60,966.64. This contractor was also over contract time, and the city is choosing to withhold $15,000 for liquidated damages. So the final payment being recommended by the city would be $45,966.64.
Councilmember Stam.
Is this the horse farm, Art Marquez off 77th? Are those hydrants going to be brought up? I drove back there, but those babies are low. Is that still part of their
When did
contract?
you drive back there?
Half ago.
Yeah, they should be brought up to where they're supposed to
Are
be.
they? Okay.
You drive out there today, they are done. They are looking they're looking sharp. They're to grade and where they should be for the overall project. So all the hydrants, I know I drove back there over this past weekend and they were done. So if you do want to take a look at the final product now for the fire hydrants, that is completed. There will also be a berm. If you've seen or haven't driven out there lately, of course, Ford Street is torn up to Craig Street. And so you kind of have to go around and get your car dirty if you want to go to Arbor Valley now. But on the far east side of that development, there's a landscape berm that Fremar is putting in. So just so you're aware of that as well.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Question regarding this, keep this where you're at there, Barry. Have we ever exceeded what let me rephrase this. So I see that we owe 60,000. We're deducting the 15,000-ish or so. Have we ever had to deduct more than what is left for payment? So have we ever had to deduct 61,000?
So if that were, you would know ahead of time how many days they're tracking over.
Okay.
So we knew with this last pay app what was left or what we were tracking, and we were comfortable processing the previous, so pay app 6 for 100 and whatever thousand it was.
Okay.
So if we were tracking to be more than we wouldn't pay out more than what we would have needed to withhold. So we
Okay.
would have held it before the final payout, basically.
Is that, whose job is it to keep track of that? Is it that
A
PEC's?
joint effort. We would be tracking it on our end to let the city know, let the city decide what they actually want to pursue on withholding. And if it is exceeding that amount, then we would work with the contractor and just let them know, hey, we're not going to pay all this yet because we're likely going to keep some of it back.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Anybody else? Do I have a motion?
Motion for approval of the final pay app for Arbor Valley Phase 1 in the amount of $45,966.64.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Move on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Excuse me. All in favor, raise your hands. Motion carries. Thank you. Move on to staff reports. Mr. Schrack.
Good evening, everyone. Just a quick reminder that barring any weather issues, we will have the farmers market this upcoming Thursday evening. It's going to be a groovy time. The theme is flower power. And so come out. We're going to have some live music, food trucks. It's going to be fantastic. And then we will have the building facade lighting at 7:30. So again, it runs from 4 to 8. We have some new vendors. Very excited to have some new people join our farmers market this season. But again, that's this Thursday, hopefully from 4 to 8. Stay tuned to social media. If it does look like there's going to be inclement weather, we will plan accordingly. But for now, knock on wood, that we do have good weather. Thank you.
I have just one thing to say. Far out, man.
Peace.
Mr. Owens.
Good evening again. Just a few updates on projects here. Lions Park Playground, had a little bit of a snag. The contractor ran into a delay with having to order a part for the slide that needed to be there. They thought they had the right part. So I know that part has been shipped. We are still waiting on some updates as to when they will actually be back in to get that finished. I reached out to them today to find that information out. So one of my employees was handling that. I had to step in and take that over because he's unfortunately no longer with us after 10 years. I had my 10-year parks supervisor resign. So we've had a few snags along the way this week, and unfortunately he moved on to a much better, well, I say a greater opportunities for him, and we're very happy and pleased. And I do want to take the public opportunity to thank Matt Nordick and appreciate all the efforts that he had put in for the city. He was my right-hand guy. I relied on him for a lot of things. He did a lot of things behind the scenes that not a lot of other folks did get to see or even recognized a lot of times. And that was, it's kind of one of those unspoken hero type of things, just don't see what they bring to the table all the time. So when you brought up the public works, appreciation, he's definitely one of those people that his whole family's been in public service for many, many generations now. So he's one of those that just really believes in the product. But he has moved on to become an elevator maintenance person. He's joined the elevator union. So he's reaching greener pastures and new endeavors.
Higher ground.
So,
The comment should have been higher ground.
yes, higher ground. There you go. There you go. Higher ground. That would have been appropriate, right? New levels.
Oh, it does have his ups and downs, that job too, but that's,
So
woo, let's go.
Next.
he was helping me with that project at Lions Park. So I stepped back in and grabbing some information, trying to bridge the gap there with some of those things going on. There will be some updates posted when we have on our website once we have a little bit more information and feedback. I don't really expect it to be much later than the end of the month, but time will tell. The contractor did hit a few snags too with the surfacing material not bonding as well as they had hoped for. So they're going to go back and redo that. They're going to do it right before they move out. So they promised us and assured us of that. So moving on to the pool. lots going on there still, lots of finishing touches. The fences come down, the new fences come up, the construction fence came down, the new fence went up. Let's see, the pickleball courts are nearly finished. The courts have been striped. We're waiting for the nettings to go up over there. Oh gosh, staff has jumped back. Yes, good deal. I was hoping you had that. Let's see, staff has been able to, now that things are kind of happening and some groups are out of the way, we're able to jump back in. We've been working all along, but we jump in on getting some of the things done that we need to now that the contractor's starting to be out of the way, getting ready to fill probably towards the end of this week, or probably towards the end of this week, most likely. They've got a few things to tackle before that can happen, but I don't see that to be too much of a problem. Let's see, along those lines, we've still got some contractor things going on, like the brick mob is still painting some of the buildings. City staff is going to be painting some of those buildings, and then just our normal getting the rest of it ready, the last minute details. So we're excited to see that open. And along that line, our contractor, McCown Gordon, is sponsoring a appreciation and a ribbon, I guess, a grand opening. What are they calling it? Ribbon cutting for the new facility. And that will occur on Memorial Day weekend, the 27th of May at 11:45, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 11:45. So hot dogs and hamburgers will be provided, and we hope to see you all out there for that. Anything I missed? Lastly, I know that this time of year, the splash pad is a big question, so we always like to just give a shout out to that opening up on Memorial Weekend as well. We will have some information provided on our website if it hasn't been already, so staff working on that. So stand for any questions?
No, thank you. Chief Newman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Real quick, some of you probably already saw it. I brought one of the new trucks with updated graphics, so I'll be outside after the council meeting if you'd like to take a closer look.
Assuming you can get in it and not set the alarm off. So,
I don't
yeah.
have the keywords, but the remote doesn't for that truck.
All right, Mr. Shear. Oh, Mr. Eggleston, I'm sorry.
Matt had a question.
Oh, did you have a question? I'm not covering up your light.
Fine, go ahead.
Oh, no, ask your question.
No, I just want, have we got all of our vehicles from Enterprise now? Or are we still waiting on a few?
So it's an ongoing effort. We've got one that should be in Wichita that was delivered to pick up. And then for the police department, we have 4 Explorers that should be here third or fourth quarter, provided Ford doesn't cancel them.
So real briefly, thank you, Mr. Clark, for taking care of my update on Ford Street. I regress, staff has been pretty inundated lately. We're trying to beat the deadline. We're beating down the streets, knocking on doors, wearing out city phones, trying to contact people, working on easement acquisitions for the Meridians project. Just as you said, there's so many going on right now. And so thank you, Brent, for letting us know where they were on Ford. They're moving along. They're not letting grass grow under their feet. So they're working very, very hard to make that deadline. So.
Councilmember Wilson.
Mr. Eggleston, do we have an update on the asphalt issues with Meadow just to the east of Interurban? I brought this up a couple of months ago with several issues right in the middle of that road there on the curves by Wheatland Elementary that are deteriorating already. We just had that redone last summer.
We'll have to take care of that in our staff. So we'll be working on getting those ground out, and then we'll have to buy hot mix and take care of that on our staff, since we through the bid process on the mill and overlay, it was a different contractor that won that bid.
Not much of a warranty there, is it, on that?
Not really, no.
Yeah. That's very disappointing to see something. Yeah, because it's been failing for several months now. That's long within a year. That's not even a year old. It's about 8 months old, and it's already deteriorating. That's That's not good workmanship on their part of prepping the street underneath.
Well, that was not, that's really when we wrote the RFP and they approved the RFP, they bid on what's written in the RFP. The RFP was written for a 2-inch mill.
Okay.
And 1.5 inches over there that wasn't a full depth dig. And so that's really probably going to be on staff if we didn't get that milled out and get base in there beforehand.
Okay.
We usually try to do that.
Okay.
And Councilmember Wilson, within a mill and overlay, you're not really able to change the pitch, the drainage side. And so, the area that you're talking about, I mean, that really collects and holds water, right?
No, that's not the area I'm talking about. This is in the center of the road. This is not the area on the side by the curbing. This is in the snow. This is in the center of the road. There's 3 spots right in the middle of the road in that curve around, coming around Wheatland there. They're right in the center of the road.
Well, let's take a look at it again.
That's why yeah, I'm very aware of the area that holds water against the curb. Oh, absolutely. That area is fine. These are potholes that are now starting to create within the center of the road. And there's 3 spots.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that and see if it's from, curb stop or something that we have in that roadway or something, and see if there's we did have an issue on Meridian when we did do overlays, and the contractor at the time did a great job of coming back and fixing those. We're at that transition just to the north of Goff is where they had patched before. So we'll see what we can do and report back.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
You brought up the Meridian project. I've already gotten at least one, I'll call it disappointment, that we're getting rid of trees. And I know why we're getting rid of trees, but can we get that on social media? That whatever we get rid of on Meridian, we're going to replace it. And I don't know, I guess I don't know how to approach that. Maybe Mr. Clark or somebody can.
So I actually was going to bring it up. I had nobody else, but I have gotten, it's one of those things. It's one of those things that, that happens in this town. And I agree. And I know we discussed it way back when we found out trees were going, but the one question I had, is it the trees that are on the inner sides of the street sides of the sidewalks that are coming out? Do we know?
For most of them. And then the only other ones would be if it directly affects the sidewalk.
Because we're not widening the street any, right?
Nope.
So it's just wherever the sidewalk needs to be.
There'll be sidewalk on both sides of the street.
And the sidewalk will be wider than the existing sidewalk is.
Wider. And so there is a couple of places that I've had to talk to homeowners that their tree's just going to be right beside that brand new sidewalk. And if we don't take that tree out, it'll just lift that brand new sidewalk up.
Right. Well, and I know that, and that's what I try to communicate, and that we would be replacing trees. I just think it's the nice canopy that we have facing north that everybody's going to miss. And I even said that there's also dead trees in there that we don't see because the nice trees are covering them up, basically. But I don't know. And again, I don't know how to communicate this very well as far as long-term goal. We will be replacing a certain number of trees. They may not be the same size of trees, but we will be replacing the trees.
That's how staff and I have been trying to present it through all these
Right.
discussions. We're not going to, we can't promise to replace one for one.
Well, I know.
And it won't be the same type of trees. We can't be putting 100-foot.
Oh,
huge
and
trees
I
anymore.
completely understand that. And like I said, I don't know how to communicate this very
There's a whole
well.
streetscaping part of that whole section of the Meridians project. So for aesthetics and whatnot, I know it's sad to get rid of mature trees. It really,
Right.
really is. And sometimes it's just necessary.
Oh, and I don't disagree. I just was hoping we're communicating it well. That's what
Doing
I'm
the best we
requesting.
can.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, sir.
Bet.
Okay, now Mr. Shear. Mr. Arbuckle. Mr. Smith?
Just a quick reminder, the department heads, myself, and City Administrator Clark have been hard at it going through budget discussions here recently, and our next council meeting will start at 6 for our department budget presentations. So just a reminder.
Mr. Clark? Gee, looks like Chief Newman.
He's giving me a little bit of his time. Officer Hamlin and our new officer, Mackenzie Balazar, came in a little late. They had a call. So I just wanted to take this opportunity, stand up, Mackenzie, to introduce one of our newest officers, Officer Balazar. If you have time after the meeting to introduce yourselves, that would be fantastic.
Well, I know we've met, you and I have met, and welcome. And how are you related to the well-known Balthasars in town?
I have no idea.
You don't?
We think that we're related somehow, maybe distant cousins, but it's never been confirmed.
Oh, okay. That was actually a question I meant to ask you when I met you and forgot.
It's not a very common last name. So
No.
I'm sure we're related in some fashion, but.
Yeah. Yeah, just like Cicerello. There's Cicerellos out there that I have no idea that I know I've got to be relative somewhere down the line. So, okay. Well, welcome. Thanks, Mr. Clark. All right, we'll move on to,
I will be brief. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a reminder too, this coming Monday, I've been sending out emails, posted on social media. We do have our blood drive donor challenge with Park City again this year. And so there are plenty of spots and opportunities. We are able to start this year at noon. So from noon to 6 over the community center, we'll be having a blood drive. You can go to redcross.org to find out that information as well, or go to any of our social media pages and you can click the links and take you right there. Also too, wanted to thank Barry and his staff for their hard work on the audit, as well as processing whenever we have pay apps and those things. Barry does a great job with keeping track. He catches some change orders that may or may not have been approved prior, and making sure that everything is status quo and goes above and beyond. So thank you, Barry, and your staff for that. And also two, here, hold on. There's one. See, our next meeting is until like June 6th, right? And so there's a special day between now and then. And it is Council Member Colbert's birthday on June 1st. So happy early birthday, Council Member, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
Sam, for any questions?
what are the stakes this year with the blood drive?
Well, Mayor, do you want to report or would you like?
No, I don't, because
Okay.
I got a follow-up to your report.
And so, great.
So yes, I set you up. Yes.
We are, so this year, since last year, it may or may not have been close in the final numbers. We did save a lot of lives and appreciate it as Park City was starting their very first real blood drive,
Right.
and now it's an ongoing, regular drive, which has been fantastic. But this year they have challenged us, the losing city, that has to then host the other community and its city employees and staff for a cookout. Well, during that cookout and barbecue, the mayor and administrators of both of the communities are going to play a little game of pickleball to see who wins that challenge, as well as cornhole to see who wins that challenge. And so they're going to try to win two, since I believe the current standings, Chris from the paper, Chris, do you know what the current standings are? I believe we are 3-0. I believe we're 3-0 against Park City. So they're going to try to catch up a little bit to the mayor's challenges between the two communities, as myself have undergone back surgery last October and have not played pickleball, as well as our mayor, Cicerello, has back problems. But we may just surprise you, so don't you wait. Don't you
And that brings me to my follow-up. Can someone please teach me how to play pickleball between now and then?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the governing body reports. I have nothing else. Councilmember Stam.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Gregory.
Nothing.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Wilson.
I have nothing, sir.
And Councilmember soon-to-be birthday boy Colbert.
Thank you for that. If there's no other business before the council, I'll make a motion to be adjourned.
Second.
I have a motion, a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I'll learn not to open it.